This episode is brought to you by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Welcome aboard to Carefree Boating. Here, we don't worry about the what-ifs, because we explore with Progressive Boat Insurance for as little as $100 per year for a basic liability policy. Progressive also offers a variety of other coverages and can help you cover repair costs when you need it. And with discounts like multi-policy, safety courses, responsible driver, and more, your mind can really float free. Cruise on over to Progressive.com to get a quote today and see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Rate and discounts not available in all states or situations.
Today on City Cast Boise. Boise likes to think that it's the belle of the Treasure Valley Ball, but is the crown starting to slip? Maybe, just maybe, Meridian or Caldwell are starting to outshine the city of trees. We're debating assumptions and airing stereotypes to find out which city is really the best place to live. It's Tuesday, July 8th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. I've been so excited about this conversation and finally got a chance to get together with Evelyn Avitia, our producer, and Blake Hunter, our newsletter editor. And we call ourselves City Cast Boise, but we all live in different cities. I live in Meridian, Evelyn lives in Caldwell, Blake lives in Boise. And just with how the Treasure Valley is, there's a lot of interconnectedness. We live in certain cities, work in other cities. We travel throughout the Treasure Valley to eat and recreate and enjoy all the different aspects of this area. So I thought it would be fun to have a conversation where we are each the champion of the place that we live. And we are going to try to convince each other and you why where we live is actually the best place to live in the Treasure Valley. So thank you both for joining me today.
Of course. I'm so excited to talk about Caldwell.
Thank you. You guys are fighting an uphill battle. Ooh. And I think you know it.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. See if we can pull something out.
Okay, let's get into it.
Since I was the one who organized this conversation, I'll go first. And I'm defending Meridian. I know what some of y'all are thinking, but I think Meridian has some high points. And I'm going to start with, it is the Goldilocks city of the Treasure Valley. It is just the right size, not too big, not too small, not too urban, not too rural. It is right in the middle of everything. So if I want to go to Boise, not that bad of a drive. I can go to Kuna, I can go to Eagle, I can hit up all of the different recreational spots. It's just perfectly centrally located. My commute is not the worst, but it's not the shortest either. Its location is amazing. It really can't be beat depending on where I want to go. If you're on any other side of the Treasure Valley, you are going to have a longer drive to get different places than if you're just centrally located in Meridian.
That's true. My drive to Caldwell or like Ontario or, wherever is a little bit long for me. I'll take that point.
I told you there are high points to Meridian, Blake.
Okay.
I think that's pretty valid. And I do feel like I am at a disadvantage here. I will admit it. Let's just start off by saying that, mainly because I think that there are still so many outdated, racist and classist beliefs when it comes to Caldwell and just how people perceive it. So yeah, I'm excited to dive in and talk about all the good Caldwell has to offer. And I feel like for me, one of those things is the rural landscape views. I feel like 1 minute you're in downtown Caldwell, you're checking out the developing town, but seriously, in 10 minutes, drive out and you're looking at orchards, farms, just these beautiful rural views where if you're okay, I want to get away from all that crazy traffic in Meridian, crazy traffic in Boise, you can do that. You can just kind of reset and take on a different view.
That is one of the things that I miss about living in Caldwell. I went to College of Idaho for a year. I lived on campus and I could walk in within 10 minutes, I would be petting horses in their pasture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had walking routes to go see horses and I can't do that in Boise. And that is a really big win for Caldwell, honestly.
No, and you do if I want to go to a drive-in theater, if I have to in Caldwell, you are close to that rural access and getting out on those country roads. And yeah, 15 years ago, Meridian maybe kind of, but not anymore. So you definitely do win when it comes to access to rural areas.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like you two are being a little too nice so far. So Blake, let's talk about Boise.
Okay.
What does the King Boise have?
Yeah. I mean, I think that like Boise is still a small city. I think that it has the urban elements, but it still has like Boise has a really small town feel. Like, let's be honest. Like, you can still walk into any restaurant, any coffee shop, anywhere just on the street. And if you've lived here for 5 years and like been somewhat involved, you're probably going to see somebody you know. And that feels very, very small town to me. But it still has, I don't know. I actually do hesitate to call Boise urban, but it is the most urban of anything that literally all of Idaho has to offer. So I think that counts. But yeah, so I think that that's my big plus for Boise, or one of them. One of the reasons that I absolutely love living here is that it feels, and I live downtown, so that's really, really nice, is that like I get to walk around and just like feel like I'm in a city, but I still get to see people all the time that I know.
Well, and Blake, that's one of the reasons why I can't really take people in Boise seriously when they look down their noses at Meridian, because Boise still is kind of a small city. It's got that small town feel. So when they're like, well, I live in Boise, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, like, yes, it is bigger than Meridian.
Okay, but growing up in Caldwell, I will say, like, that was the city. Like, you're like, oh my God, we're going to the city. Like, everyone gets so excited. Yeah. And so I feel like just growing up here, that was the mentality that I had of like, oh my God, Boise's like our big city.
Totally. And I think that that's just because like having like the downtown core of like bars and restaurants is the huge plus to me. And that's to me what sets it apart. In what you're saying, Lindsay, is it's just like, I understand that Boiseans can be pretty snobby and like look down on other people, but we have a lot better food than y'all do. We have a lot more food options, and we have a lot better food.
Okay, but here's my beef with the food.
I know exactly what you're going to say, and you're right. Yeah.
Well, two different things. One of those is that here in Caldwell, you can just walk into any restaurant and you're sat and you're eating. But I feel like as soon as you're in Boise, they're like, where's your reservation? Do you have a reservation? Oh, it's going to be about an hour wait. Is that okay?
Seriously?
And I'm like, oh, yeah. So you always have to have reservations planned. And I don't know if it's like that in Meridian, but in Boise, it definitely is.
I will say at the Village, it's like that. But most parts of Meridian, yes. No, same thing. Like, if I want to go to the Roosevelt, I'm sat right away. If I want to go get delicious Indian food, I'm sitting in minutes. Like, there is no wait. I'm getting food. So you might have more food options, but yeah, unless you have a reservation, you're not getting that food within the hour.
I'm going to call it. I think you guys are exaggerating. I don't think that the wait times in Boise are that long. I think if you're going out like Friday evening and Saturday evening, like peak times for dinner, yeah, you have to get a reservation. That's fine, you guys.
Blake, we don't live in Boise. We are eating out there on Fridays and Saturday nights.
No, and that's fine. But like, you still come to Boise like other times of the week too. And y'all know you can be sat and have food within 30 minutes. Like, let's be real, you guys.
30 minutes isn't 5 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
And while we're talking about going downtown to eat, I'm just going to say another pro for Meridian is downtown parking in Meridian is free. It has always been free. It continues to be free. And so you can just pop in downtown, grab what you need, and leave. I will say it is getting busier downtown, which is another pro of mine, but it is getting a little trickier to find parking, but it's always still free. Always still free.
True. Thanks to the very passionate citizens of Caldwell, parking is free literally everywhere. And there's plenty of parking.
Y'all made sure that parking stayed free. Y'all said no thank you.
We have some passionate older citizens here. I can't, I do appreciate them to a certain extent.
Those are Meridian and Caldwell values, Blake.
I respect that. Our values are having good restaurants and a dynamic downtown scene.
Wait, what about the Mexican food though? How's the Mexican food in Boise and Meridian? Oop.
I can't fight you on that.
No.
Looking for authentic Mexican food? You're in Caldwell.
Crickets, yeah.
That's true. 1,000%. And everybody who knows that.
Yeah. There's a cup. No, yeah. Never mind.
Okay, Blake, you're taking some fire. So I want to know how can you come back? The Boise crowd needs a rebound. What can you give us?
We don't need a rebound. We're doing fine. We can take the fire. But I appreciate you trying to play nice. Boise is so green. That is one of my biggest perks of living here. The Greenbelt is such a gem, and it connects the Ribbon of Jewels, like this series of parks along the Boise River that are just massive. And I think to me that it's hard, nearly impossible to imagine what Boise would look like or feel like living here without the Greenbelt and without the parks. Like that to me is just like a banner reason for living here. Of course it connects to like the foothills as well, which I'll get into in a minute. But I just want to like shine a light and shine some praise on like the Boise River, the Greenbelt, and the parks along that. Because I think to me, that is a problem that I have with each of your cities, like lovingly, is Meridian has been expanding so quickly. It's, thousands of houses that look the same, stretching as far as the eye can see. And then, Caldwell just doesn't have as much like green infrastructure either. And so that to me is something that truly, truly sets Boise apart.
Okay, I will give you the green belt because I cannot control where the river goes. But I have to push back on the park thing. I don't know if you've really explored all the parks in Meridian. We have parks everywhere. Like I would say we rival Boise in our access to parks. Every subdivision has one, all different kinds of equipment, really accessible park areas. So I do have to push back and say, I am very impressed with how many parks Meridian has. And I would say it might rival Boise.
I'll take that. I think especially the quantity. I think that Meridian has done a really good job of making sure that there's parks. Just going to push back a little bit more. I think that like, for me, it's like, we have old trees, and that's something that I really appreciate about Boise is that it does feel older than Meridian. And actually, that's another point for Caldwell is that there's a lot of points of Caldwell, areas of Caldwell that have that older feel to it and have like bigger trees and older buildings that I think have like, kind of create that sense of charm. Would you agree with that, Evelyn?
Absolutely. I was like, notice how I'm quiet here because I think Blake is definitely taking this one. But there's just a small town charm here, and there's a whole area with these historical homes. And I don't know, it's definitely a special feeling. But when I think about Meridian and their parks, all I can think about are splash pads everywhere. And I don't like that one bit.
I agree. Just soccer fields as far as the eye can see.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Okay. I do. This is what I have to say though, is everybody turns up their nose at that. Everybody makes fun of the suburbs, the splash pads, the parks until they have kids. And then all of a sudden they're looking to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Meridian in a subdivision with a splash pad because this is like, I know this is my personal choice, but I'm choosing to raise my family here. I think it is a great place to raise a family. I'm not saying the other cities aren't, but just for me personally, this was a spot where I was like, yes, this is where I want to raise my family. So even though Meridian gets so much shade about being the suburban sprawl, and it is, there's a reason people want to raise their kids in the suburbs. And it's because of you kind of have this little community with a park, with your neighbors, with your friends. And you have, your subdivision barbecue and your subdivision yard sale. And so suburbs get a lot of hate. And I think there are good reasons for it, including a lack of walkability. But there are also some major perks when you're raising kids. So whenever a dink couple from Boise is telling me like suburbia is hell, and then they're like, we're raising a kid and now we're buying a house in Meridian, I always have to say like, yeah, I knew that might happen. You'd head to West Boise or Meridian because there are definite perks to living in suburbia when you're raising a family.
Yeah. It's also just a lot cheaper than like trying to like buy a house and that's big enough to like raise kids in Boise. That's for sure. Yeah.
And that's another point is like, yes, Boise has a lot of things that we can talk about being amazing, being incredible. But when it comes to affordability, Meridian is quite a bit more affordable than Boise or even West Boise. And so there are things at Boise you get more access to, but you are paying a lot for that access, especially if you have kids, especially if you have a bigger family, that's a reason people choose Meridian is we want access, but maybe we don't make enough to live in Boise. Like I am getting significantly more house and yard living in Meridian than I would in Boise.
I'm sure you would get even more house and even more yard if you're living in Caldwell.
I can't fight you on that.
Yep.
I can't fight you on that.
This is true.
Are you looking for a way to keep your kids challenged, engaged, and genuinely excited to learn? This summer, trade screen time for real-world wonder. Summit Innovations is where Boise kids of all ages explore through immersive hands-on STEM camps designed to spark creativity, curiosity, and critical thinking. Your child will engage in hands-on experiments, coding, and play designed all around the theme that changes each week, from space exploration to AI to robotics, engineering, circuits, Minecraft, and more. These camps are aligned with next-generation science standards, and they prioritize low student-to-instructor ratios to ensure every student feels supported and included. Summer camps will be running throughout the summer, and the fall schedule for day-off school camps and after-school activities will be released on July 21st. You can check out both at summitinnovationlab.com and grab your child's spot before they're gone. That's summitinnovationlab.com.
Paradise is back
It's finally here.
in a new location, Costa Rica. There will be adventure, drama, and romance,
All gas, no brakes. That's my vibe.
Ready to find some love.
but it wouldn't be paradise without surprises along the way.
These kids need to learn.
That's right, your favorite Golden alums are crashing the beach,
We bring in a party, baby.
Bachelor in Paradise, new Mondays at 8, 7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Okay, Evelyn, I was maybe going to talk about the Village, but I don't even want to bring that up because y'all have Indian Creek Plaza. And so I don't feel like I can even talk about the Village if I know you're going to bring up Indian Creek Plaza. So is that one of your points, just so I know whether I can like bring it up or I just need to forget it?
I hate to admit this. I think that there are so many Village haters, and I am not a Village hater. I actually love the Village. I could go and spend a whole day there, and it's like paradise for me. So I do love the Village. But of course, we do have Indian Creek Plaza, and it stays busy all season. There are always events going on. And of course, Winter Wonderland is one of the most popular events here in Caldwell, and it brings in so many people from Eagle, Meridian, Boise, just so they could walk around and see these gorgeous displays of lights, of Christmas lights, for free. But yeah, I don't know, Lindsay. When it comes to shopping and all that, I feel like Indian Creek Plaza has its cute local shops, but to me, the Village shopping is just better because I am shopping from these chains and like, I don't know. What are your Village thoughts?
I'm not a Village hater, and I know that there are, and again, I get the draw to Meridian is, all these chain shops and capitalists. I understand those arguments and why people are like, that's soulless, but people come, like it's a destination that people come to. And I've got to tell you, like when I had little kids, they have a great playground there. They have a fountain. They have a gym. So I could go to the gym. It's just like, it's a great spot when you have kids, when you have a family. I'm not saying you have to have kids to enjoy the Village. I've enjoyed the Village plenty of times without my kids, but there's some really solid restaurants. There's shops to go to. There's something about sitting with your, teriyaki bowl or your burrito and watching the ducks on the fountain that is just nice. And so I know that there's all these haters. I can't hate on the Village. I think it's a nice spot.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to supporting local businesses and getting away from huge crowds and just trying to, there's a splash pad in the Indian Creek Plaza too. You have your Flying M, you have your Still Ice Cream, you have a brewery over there, a wine shop. It's just a good getaway spot and a good way to spend the evening with friends or family, catch up with folks. And it's just that small town charm. I think you really, really feel it when you're in a spot like Indian Creek Plaza.
I will say, Evelyn, you and Blake, Y'all have got us beat every day of the week because we don't have a Flying M, and I don't know why. And I would desperately love.
And you're not getting one.
You're not getting one.
Please,
Yeah.
please, Flying M, please, please. I will go there every day. So that is one little like point against Meridian I will make. We do not have a Flying M, so I do have to drive to Boise or Caldwell to get my Flying M fix. And that
or Nampa.
Yeah, how are we the only place that doesn't have a Flying M? What is going on?
I think it's self-explanatory, actually.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We would patronize the hell out of a Flying M.
I just want to rewind a little bit. Y'all are saying that it's hard to hate on the Village. I don't know what you're talking about. I hate the Village. I go there every 4 months against my will. I get so overstimulated. And even with the Indian Creek Plaza too, I think that yes, they're nice. They're good cornerstones of your cities, but I think that they are because they have to be. Your cities really need them. Boise, we don't need that. So I think that that's a flex for us is just we have so many more options. We have so many more local options. If you want to go to the mall, you can get your chain shopping in, although the Village really is better than the mall for shopping like that. I'll admit that.
I'll take it.
Yeah. But I think that the Village to me does really kind of depress me because it's it's just this 1 square mile that the Meridian needs to keep its economy going. And it's just it feels like a portal to just anonymous consumer America. And it's just it literally, I disassociate so hard. I'm just nothing matters. I don't know. I get so despondent at the Village.
Blake, what are you talking about? You can be at the Village and be in line for 45 minutes to get an In-N-Out burger, and across the street is an onion field. It's practically rural.
It's practically rural. So what I'm hearing is that you have to wait to get food in Meridian?
Only an In-N-Out, and that's a whole other conversation we had. Yeah. I'm an In-N-Out hater till I die. I'm just saying that's an option for people.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the Village maybe being a better place to shop. But really quickly, where are the locations of each of your 5 favorite bars? I would just like to know. Evelyn, why don't you go first? Where do you like to get a drink in the Valley? Tell me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'll go to the Craft Lounge in Caldwell, and that's it. Otherwise, I'm heading over to Boise and I'm grabbing all my espresso martinis in downtown Boise. Yep.
Okay. And then Lindsay, do you want to chime in here?
I will say the Roosevelt. The Roosevelt is my favorite, hands down. Okay. And that's in downtown Meridian. But then, I'm probably heading to downtown Boise.
Yeah, and everything here is shut down by 9 p.m. It's true. Yep, everyone's asleep.
Meridian's getting a little better, but similar. Fridays and Saturdays, it goes hard in downtown. You would be shocked, actually. I've been a little frustrated that it's been trickier to find parking lately. I'm who are all these people? What are you doing here? But it is most likely, it's settling down around 10 or 11.
Yeah. Meridian's nightlife scares me. So no, thank you.
Yeah. I very much agree with you there, Evelyn. Any time that I've been drinking in either of y'all's cities, I have been afraid for my life. I think that just connects to another big point that I have in general. And this is kind of a tricky one. This is kind of a serious note, but it's not something that I hold against either of your cities. That's not true. Actually, I do hold this against both of your cities. Boise is the only town that I really feel safe being outwardly being queer if I have a partner or I'm on a date. There are a few pockets, there are a few businesses I will say that I feel safe being outwardly queer and showing that in, but it's walking from the car to the business, walking if it's late at night. I was raised rural in Idaho, and it's kind of a tough pill to swallow for me that Boise is the only city in Idaho that I feel safe living in, and sometimes don't feel safe here. You know what I mean? So that is sorry to take it there, but wondering what each of your thoughts are on that, and same with womanhood and race involved in that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is such a valid point, and your experiences are 100% valid. I have always felt really safe in Caldwell in the sense that it's really culturally diverse. In high school, really all of my friends were Latino. And so the biggest culture shock I felt was going to Moscow and just being in classrooms surrounded by white peers. And so that was a really, really difficult transition for me. Fortunately, I have been very lucky living here in Caldwell. I haven't really dealt with any extreme hatred or racism. So I will say in my experience living in Caldwell, it's been a really, really safe experience for me.
It's hard for me to accurately talk about this because I am a white, cis, hetero-appearing woman in Meridian. And so I will say there's not a lot of diversity here. And we have had major issues with our school district, with racism from teachers and racism within the schools. So I think this is an area where I think depending on who you ask, they don't feel safe in Meridian. I'm not maybe the one to speak to that though, because I haven't had experiences where I feel unsafe. I fully expect people have had very racist incidences in Meridian and very homophobic and transphobic instances in Meridian. And my oldest child is trans, and in some of the schools they've gone to, there have been really transphobic things said to them. So that is an issue in Meridian, 100%.
Yeah. Also, I'm not trying to just shovel y'all's cities under the bus because, oh my gosh, Boise struggles with this too. I've been the most homophobic things that I've experienced, for example, at bars have been in Boise, have been at Roddy's and Strangelove. So that's, that's not unique, here. I think we just have a few extra options in that regard here.
No, my gauge for it, this might be really silly, but because of the content I make online and certain crowds might know who I am.
Yeah.
I've never been recognized in Meridian, not once. So
really?
my audience,
that
no,
is
not
shocking.
once. Not once. I've been recognized in Caldwell, in Eagle, in Boise. No one in Meridian has ever stopped me and been like, oh, I watch you on TikTok. That has never happened. So I'm like, oh, my crowd is not here.
That's really interesting because I've literally been with you in Boise multiple times when someone's recognized you. So that's shocking, huh?
I get real ready when I go to Boise because Meridian, I'm walking around with my hair in a bun and sweats. Nobody knows me. But I go to Boise, I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta kind of get ready.
That's funny.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car right in your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Blake, you talked about where's your favorite place to drink. I think a lot of our areas have draws to their city, things that bring people to their city or things that are interesting to check out or unique. So yeah, hey, Evelyn, what are you doing in Caldwell that's unique? Or what's kind of a draw to Caldwell that no other city in the Treasure Valley is doing?
Okay, well, I do have to shout out Caldwell because we have the Sunny Slope Wine Trail. And we just really have the best access to some of the state's best wineries and tasting rooms. Maybe you're just starting to like wine and you want to build that palate. You're able to go on these wine tours and just spend the whole day drinking while enjoying delicious wine and beautiful views. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, this is such a huge plus for Caldwell. This is one of my favorite things. I have to do this at least once a summer. It's always so fun. It's so beautiful. The evening, the sunsets. Oh my God.
Yes.
It is stunning.
I feel like in Boise and Meridian, you just have tasting rooms, which it's fine. That's okay.
Not too much on our tasting rooms now.
Not too much because we love our tasting rooms, but wouldn't you want to see the whole vineyards and the beautiful views and enjoy your wine and get your aesthetic photos in?
Yeah.
I know you've absolutely got it right. Where there are tasting spots that are fantastic, A++, but there is something different about being on a tour, watching being at the vineyard sunset. That's just a whole vibe in and of itself that Caldwell really has the market on.
Absolutely.
Okay, but Meridian's got like 52 chicken sandwich shops. So, I think we've got both y'all's cities beat there.
You can have that one. I'm good. I'm chilling.
No, it was okay. It was really hard to think of like a singular thing that Meridian has that I like to attend, or because I'll be honest, we struggle there. I think we do struggle there. And so not to take this in a whole different political direction, but something that I like to do with my fellow Meridianites is show up at our libraries and keep protesting book bans. And we're getting really good at it. And I mean, we showed up and kept the Meridian Library from getting dissolved. The entire district they were trying to dissolve it, and we stopped it. And I have to say, for all of the critiques about Meridian, we show up when it counts. And so, I mean, especially when they were trying to dissolve the library district, we showed up at the county courthouse thousands and thousands deep fighting for libraries. And so you're right, we don't have vineyards. We just have a lot of chicken restaurants. But we do show up and protest together. And you know what? That's community bonding. Like Meridian can protest when we need to.
Y'all really can. And it's something that like, I hope that I don't sound condescending when I say it with that tone, but it is something that has surprised me over the last few years of like, you guys really, like the rest of us, other cities in the Valley need to like take a page from your book about like how to organize quickly and effectively and to like do a mass protest, because it's like, y'all are practiced. Y'all have principles around it and know how to do it quickly.
You just get enough of the PTO soccer moms in the suburbs together. We can organize anything.
Yeah. Mine is really random and feels very like quaint and unserious compared to yours, Lindsay. But truly, like my favorite thing is just like going for walks. I think we are the best city for going for walks, whether you're in a neighborhood or whether you're on the Greenbelt or whether you're in the foothills going hiking. We're a city that is designed in a way that helps you slow down. I recently had 2 friends in the same week that like live near concert venues, like say that they went for a walk and just like described the area that they live in as just like a concert venue, because they could like hear the concert, but also they could like hear the river and like the trees and the birds. And I think that that's just like so romantic. Like I think that there's just something so beautiful about Boise in that regard. And I'm just a walker. Like that's something that I just like enjoy doing.
And I don't think that's quaint at all, Blake. I mean, walkability is a major factor in home buying, and like it's on every list. And Boise absolutely nails it and is some of the best walks that I've ever been on. And they just, like you said, they feel beautiful. They are by the river or in beautiful parks or near the foothills. There's so much diversity in access to outdoor spaces, and Boise absolutely nails that.
Thanks for making my point for me, guys.
Okay, to round this conversation out, though, I want us to get really real. And what critique about your city is very true? Or you're like, yep, no, I can try to defend my city all day. Y'all are 100% right when you say this about my city. Let's toss it to you, Evelyn. What about Caldwell do people hate on and they're right?
I hate to say it, but the commute sucks. It really does. And unfortunately, we need Boise. We do. There's just some things that we can't get done here in Caldwell. And so we got to go to Mother Boise for that, or Father Boise for that. And people are wasting 2 hours of their lives commuting. I would never do that. When it comes to the normal commute, I'm fine with it. I'll take it on. I don't mind driving to Boise. I enjoy it. But that's because I'm not going during traffic hours. I am very like calculated, and I'm like, I'm not going through the traffic. I'm not wasting all this time. But there are people who have no choice, and they are wasting so much time and energy sitting in that traffic. So yeah, that commute, not fun.
Oof. And I have previously been a commuter, and I was only commuting from Meridian, and it was enraging every day. Like nightmare fuel. I was cruising through audiobooks, but I hated it.
Yeah.
It is a soul-sucking commute.
For sure. What about you, Blake?
Mine is kind of vague. Everyone comes at this from a different place, so I'm just going to dive in and say it. But I think that Boise's like self-regard for this has shifted a little bit in the last couple of years, but have just seen a lot of it recently, and I'm just so tired of it. Boise kind is such BS, and I get really, really tired of it. I think that it's so barbed. Like, it's such a double-edged sword of, like, Boise kind is often used to cover up racism, like whitewashing, and like just so many things about our city that like we need to be better about holding each other accountable for. And we're just like slapping kindness onto it and like moving on. We just think that we're better than whether it's like Meridian and Caldwell, or like better than like Californians moving in or whatever. I just think that Boise kind has just like, we just need to wrap that up and move on to something else. If we need to find a cute little slogan to help us be moralistic towards each other, fine. I feel like we should have a better reason to be nice to each other than that. But I think that it's like, especially right now, like we need to like be moving from values rather than just like being like, oh, be kind to each other. So like brush stuff under the rug. I don't know. I think that like there's like a self-righteousness that comes with it that really frustrates me sometimes.
No, and I agree with you. I think it's been used to downplay and whitewash a lot of issues that Boise does have.
Yeah.
And is, you know, but we're kind. Well,
yeah.
Sometimes to some people.
To some people. Yeah. What about you, Lindsay?
So mine is definitely tied to, you know, Meridian has been on lists for being the fastest growing city in the entire state. I think we, you know, ping pong that back and forth with Boise. And so I think people are absolutely accurate when they say, like, what even is Meridian? Who are we? And for myself, I have never lived in a place that seems to have less identity. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that the vast majority of people who've lived here have probably moved here in the past 15 years, the past 5 years. And so we don't have a city identity. We don't, you know, like I'll go to Caldwell to Amano and my husband and I will just talk about like, wow, like I can feel what Caldwell is. It is a city with an identity. I go to Nampa, same thing. I go to Boise, same thing. And you come to Meridian and like, what is it? We have the identity of a shrug. We have the identity of beige as a color. Like it's not like, who are we? I don't think I can't answer that as somebody who's lived here for more than a decade. And I think that does affect us as a city. That does affect how we grow, how we develop, who we're electing. Like we don't have a city identity, and that does feel not great living here.
Oof, that's deep. And it's really, really true. It's really true. It's a struggle. I see that for Meridian, and I don't know. I feel for y'all.
Yeah, hopefully, I don't know. Maybe that can be the new goal for the PTO soccer moms. What is our identity? Let's make one. Who are we as a people?
Get that on the phone tree. Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. This was a really fun and insightful conversation, and I'm curious to see what listeners think about how well we defended our cities.
Yeah. Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah, thank you. And Caldwell is better than Meridian. What?
What? I agree with that.
Oh, no. That's all for today here on City Cast Boise. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure and subscribe to our Hey Boise newsletter for daily updates on what's happening around the Treasure Valley. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another great local story. You won't want to miss it.